You hear it all the time, right? Don't worry, there's a human in the loop. It sounds so reassuring, like the ultimate safety net for AI. But what if that loop is actually a trap? What if the human is there not for oversight, but to take the fall? That's exactly what we're going to dig into. We're looking at a fascinating analysis of AI-generated scenarios that totally flips the script on what AI accountability really means.
Okay, so to really get this, I want you to imagine something. Let's put you right in the middle of it. Your name is Daniela. You're a community relations officer at this huge copper gold mine. Basically, you're the person on the ground, the bridge between this giant corporation and a dozen different local communities. It's a tough, important job.
So every morning, you walk in and this new AI system, it's called Community Sense, has already been hard at work. It's sifted through, get this, up to 240 community grievances. We're talking messages from WhatsApp, social media posts, notes from meetings, everything. And the AI's job is to sort them all by urgency for you. Sounds helpful, right?
Yeah, helpful, except this is how much time you have to review every single one of them. 4 hours. That's it. Just 4 hours in the morning before you have to be out in the field for the rest of your day. So, 240 grievances, 4 hours. That's what, a minute per grievance if you don't take a single break? It's just not possible.
And that right there is the heart of the problem. You've got AI processing at a speed and scale that is literally superhuman. And the thing is, this mismatch between what the machine can do and what you can actually review, that's not a bug. It's a feature. It's a deep structural flaw that basically guarantees failure is just around the corner. So that brings us to our first section. We're calling it the impossible job, because that's exactly what it is. You're basically set up to fail before you even finish your first cup of coffee. And we're about to see just how bad the fallout can be. Now, the company that sold you this AI, they boast that it's 94% accurate. And on paper, that sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want that? But what's hiding in that other 6%? Well, one day you find out. A really urgent complaint got missed. A grandmother reported that her well was contaminated. She used the phrase, "the water is sick." The AI? Well, it didn't get that. And worse, it flagged her as a chronic complainant, so it just downgraded the whole thing. That 6% failure rate, it's not just random static.
And this is where it gets really dangerous. The analysis we're looking at puts it perfectly. That shiny 94% accuracy metric, it's actually masking a huge problem. The failures are all concentrated on the most vulnerable people, the ones who don't speak in corporate buzzwords, the ones who are already marginalized. Suddenly, that great-looking number becomes a way to justify ignoring real, serious harm. Okay, so what we're seeing here is more than just a tough job. It's what this analysis calls the architecture of a trap. This isn't about having a bad day at work. This is about being placed inside a system that is specifically designed so that there are no good outcomes for you, the human operator. And here's the kicker. That grievance about the contaminated well, the one the AI missed, it's in a batch of cases that has your name, Daniela's name, right next to the words reviewed by. So just like that, the system's failure is now your failure. And from this point on, every single option you have is a bad one. So let's walk through your choices. And spoiler alert, they all suck. Option 1, you take the blame. You say it was a human review failure. This saves the AI's reputation, but sets a precedent that you can somehow magically review hundreds of cases perfectly. Option 2, you fight back. You challenge the algorithm, but that kicks off this long, bureaucratic review with the vendor, and while that's happening, the flawed system is still running, and you just look like you're making excuses. Option 3, the workaround. You start secretly double-checking everything, essentially doing the AI's job for it, leading to complete burnout while the core problem never gets fixed. Or Option 4, you escalate. You ask for more people. But the whole point of buying the AI was to cut costs and reduce staff, so now you're undermining your own manager. See? No good choices. Every single one of these paths leads to something bad, for you, for your career, or for the community you're supposed to be helping. So I ask you, which losing option do you choose? It's not really a choice, is it? It's a trap, and it's been engineered that way. And this leads us to the absolute core idea of this whole analysis. It's a really powerful metaphor for what your role has become. You're not a human in the loop. You're something much different. You are the liability sponge. Just think about that phrase for a second, a liability sponge. Your job, your purpose in this system is to absorb the blame for failures you have no real power to prevent.
Notice I said when it fails, not if. You are given all of the responsibility for the final outcome, but you have zero meaningful control over the algorithm, the data it's trained on, or the impossible workflow. You're there to soak up the mess. And one of the sources we're looking at just puts it so bluntly. The human in the loop is actually a liability capture mechanism. Let that sink in. This isn't a mistake in the design. It's the point of the design. It's a brilliant, if cynical way for a company to get all the upside of AI, the speed, the scale, while pushing all the risk, all the inevitable screw-ups onto one person's shoulders. The loop isn't for safety, it's for catching blame.
All right, so if Daniela, the liability sponge, is the wrong person to blame, then who is the right person or the right entity? This isn't about saying individuals should never be responsible. It's about figuring out where the blame should land, where the power to actually change the system exists.
And this table just lays it out so clearly. Look at the left column. Right now, liability lands on the human operator, on Daniela. It lands on their professional reputation. We slap the label human error on it and call it a day. But look at the right column. Where should it land? On the system designers and the vendor who sold the black box model. On the company leadership who bought it and demanded impossible results. It should land on the entire institutional setup that decided speed was more important than accuracy. We call it human error, but really, it's a design error, a systemic failure.
Okay, so it's easy to point out how broken this all is, but what do we do about it? The good news is the analysis doesn't just stop there. It actually points toward a path forward. It's about redesigning these systems from the ground up to create what we could call designing real oversight.
The whole idea is to shift from this blame game, pointing fingers at the person at the end of the chain, and focus on a real, structural redesign. How do we make humans and AI partners instead of setting up one to fail the other? How do we build systems that have actual accountability baked in, not just the illusion of it?
So what does that look like in practice? The analysis had some fantastic, concrete ideas. First, you invert the burden of proof. The AI can flag stuff all day long, but its recommendation is locked. It does nothing until a human actively confirms it with evidence. Second, you mandate that human review time has to be proportional to the AI's output. No more 240 cases in 4 hours. Simple as that. Third, you give the human real power, a big red pause button, the authority to halt the whole process if something smells fishy. And maybe the most important one, you implement shared liability. The vendor who made the AI, they're on the hook contractually for its performance. And finally, you demand transparency. No more black boxes. The user has to be able to see why the AI made the recommendation it did.
And all of this really brings us back to one final crucial question. When one of these AI systems fails, and it will, who should answer for it? The user who was put inside the loop, basically as a failsafe with no real power? Or the architects of that loop, the people who designed it, who built it, and who profited from it? That, right there, is the conversation we absolutely need to be having.